Hey there! In this video I'd like to show you a build I've been using recently to make tons of silver and also fame by blasting through the Black Zone camps and other open world content as a solo player. The build revolves around the one-handed frost staff using the second Q, which you want to be spamming on these mobs as fast as possible. And in order to do that, we are using the third passive. We are using pork omelets, and we are using the tome in the offhand. As for the frost staff, you want to be using the third W, as it allows you to escape dangerous abilities and also interrupt casts. You want to maximize your damage by using a mage robe. You may use other cloth robes here, but the mage robe gives you the highest amount of damage and also doesn't cost much. You will want to be using the Mend Wound first ability as you get out of combat to just regen your mana and be able to chain the next group of mobs as fast as you can. As for the passives, you will be using the damage passives. I am currently using a Mage Cowl as it's affordable and adds more damage to the build. I am using Mage Sandals to give me some mana back and also damage. I'd like to mention here that you may use any other shoes. You may use plate or leather, anything you want. You may also use any other headpiece. It reduces the amount of damage you do slightly, but you might want to farm other items, and this build is just perfect for that. I was able to max all my helms and shoes just by using this. I usually bring a low tier cape with me just as it gives me a little bit of energy regeneration, and I do bring these three kind of potions. By default I have a healing potion which allows me to fight off enemies that might attack me when I'm doing camps. I bring an invisibility potion so I can escape gankers, and I like to bring these energy potions because they not only give like some mana, they also give you some cooldown rate, which does help speeding up the process of defeating stronger, higher tier open world bosses and also dungeon bosses. But yeah, you don't need any of them, to be honest. Like, you can run this without potions, you'll be fine. If you want to do some PvP yourself, like if you want to actively engage it or if you want to ward off annoying players, then you may change your build slightly. I recommend to use the third active, so you can kite and damage while walking. And because this doesn't have any cast time, you can swap to the first or to the fourth passive. Make sure you also change your robe to the third ability, as the first one doesn't do you any good. If you want to focus on PvP a bit more, you can bring some additional items, such as a assassin's jacket or, for example, a mist collar or a torch. But yeah, that's completely optional. Cleaning a camp usually takes between a minute and 2, depending on what kind of mobs you encounter. Paladins have a high health pool, which is why I recommend you to avoid them if you can and fill the bar with other mobs. If you must clear them, make sure you gather them up and face them in a way that they will charge into a wall. While these camps are easily doable in T5.1, you may consider upgrading your gear a little bit more once you're confident. I often go for a 6.1 staff and armor ranging between 4.1 and 6.1. Maybe even an armored horse to reduce traveling time and to protect my loot a bit better, especially during prime ganking times. When taking on bosses, I recommend clearing the area a bit so you have enough space to dodge. These sword masters do a slash in a vertical line that stands, but you usually can get 2 abilities in before you need to dodge. You may interrupt this with your W as well, but a sidestep will do. With archer bosses, make sure you dodge the circles, as these do a lot of damage and they also apply a dot. Dots always prevent you from mounting, so yeah, better be careful around those. They also have a very fast cast poison arrow, which you may interrupt if you stand on top of them when they cast it. Sadly here, I was too far away on both casts. When facing multiple mobs, try to gather the melee mobs onto the range mob, and dodge the crossbow cones unlike I did here by jumping into the post. Especially the one that applies a dot. Ritual leaders and all other Morgana casters are among the easiest to kill. Destroy the bats in an AoE, dodge their explosion, and, if possible, interrupt their summon imp casts. Do so at the last second. If you do this, they deal almost zero damage to you. Here I'll show you the opening of a few more chests. While some of them may be crappy, every now and then you get a big payout. But regardless, they really add up, especially if you clear around 10 camps and maybe some dungeons every half an hour. I recommend focusing on tier 6 or 7 camps, but feel free to take tier 5 ones along the way. Every now and then they award some good loot as well. If you are just starting out and have close to 0 spec, you may consider starting with tier 5 and 6. Tier 8 just takes too much time, and the higher tier requirements are not worth it in my opinion, especially as they are swarmed by gank groups. While heading from point A to B, I recommend taking out larger mob groups or enhanced mobs for their roll silver and fame. This really adds up, and believe it or not, more often than not, you will get a bonus drop such as these. You also stand a fair chance to complete the treasure chests, or if you can't fight, then you have a lot of escape. When clearing camps or roaming the map, you have a chance to find a solo boss lair map, such as this one. Consider these as the cherry on top of the solo camps, as they are usually cleared very fast and tend to have good rewards. Aside from me getting 3 fire staffs here, I got an assassin jacket, which was about to come in very handy. And the 4th fire staff.